What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing wonderful. As you can see, I had an amazing time with my son. This is our first official fishing trip together. He had never been fishing before, but unfortunately things didn't go very well. Things went excellent. We just didn't catch anything. So maybe next time. But just the father and son time that we got to spend together was more than enough. It was way more important than catching a fish, but he was very excited, as you guys saw, and he was just ready to catch his first fish. But unfortunately, I'm not a professional fisherman, and I'm not nowhere near a beginner fisherman. So basically, I know as much as he does. Well, a little bit more, but you know what I mean. And so we were out there trying, but we didn't get anything. But we're gonna try to get into a sport a little bit more and do a little bit more fishing together, and maybe the whole family. But the girls weren't really into it. But so we'll see what we come up with as far as that. But we actually enjoyed it. We had a blast. It just sucks that, like I had told you guys before, that you can't have a national fishing license, because actually I bought a pole that collapses, kind of like the old kids fishing poles that you would just collapse completely down, and you could, I mean, it'll fit in the bag of one of this bicycle. So I wanted that, but you know, that's what I was looking for, and I got that type of fishing pole just so I can bring it along with me. But like I was saying, I have to think about how I'm going to be able to fish when I'm not in the state of Texas. I did get the yearly fishing license, saltwater and freshwater, for Texas, but anywhere else I'm going to have to yeah, we're going to have to figure that part out. But we're going to still try to fish. I didn't bring it with me this time. I left it all back at home. But in the future, I want to start trying to go out fishing. Take the e-bike, put the fishing pole in the e-bike, and put her in the wind and go out there and see what we can catch. And hopefully we can do it in a legal way, where I can get a license quick for a day or whatever, and just enjoy that. But it kind of does suck that there's no such thing as a United States, the whole you know, whole country fishing license for the whole country, which is another topic that I've been wanting to talk about, which is weight stations. Why aren't weight stations in sync throughout the whole country? Why aren't they the same? Why are they so different? There are similarities on most of them. I guess most of them are similar, and but there are few states that have things that are kind of backwards. The first one that I can think of right offhand is the state that I have a lot of love for, Louisiana. I have a lot of love for the people, the food, not so much the roads or their DOT enforcement. Yeah, but anyways, got one of these love bugs in here. It's love bug season. But anyways, so why aren't they in sync? Why are they all so different in a lot of different places? Like, you have some that you have to roll through 5 miles an hour. You roll through, get checked out. You got some that you have to stop completely. You have some that, like Louisiana, that's backwards. It does the flashing light means that you can bypass, which in every other state that I know of, flashing light usually means that it's open and you have to come in. There are some states that do weigh you out on the highway, which Louisiana, being one of the poorest states, actually has that system and has had it for a long time. And Texas, which is one of the larger states, which should have more money, does not have that system in all their scales. The only positive thing about Texas scales is that they're not always open 24 hours a day, which some Louisiana scales are. And there are some states like Florida that I can think right offhand that is open. They're open 24 hours all the time. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So who else is open a lot? Mississippi. But some of them are predictable. Some of them you can go through at night. Some of them, and they'll be closed. But then there's some that are just unpredictable, that are open on crazy hours. And then there are some that are just known nationwide as being the sticklers of the trucking industry as far as scales. One that comes right offhand, and I've never had any problem there, never have actually gotten pulled into that scale. I just stories that I've heard over and over again is, you guys guessed it, the banning scales in California on I-10. Those are the most famous scales that I know of, that everybody's had some type of encounter there at one time or another, or we've just heard those horror stories. Another set of scales that I know of that are pretty sticklers are all the scales going south, down to South Texas. All the scales as far as Falfurrias, Rivera, Texas, Falfurrias, Texas, those scales there are also pretty sticklers. Now, they have a schedule you can kind of follow. They normally open, well, when I used to go down there a lot, they would open like at 3 in the morning, or no, like 4 in the morning, something like that, 4, 5, 6. And they would be open and then close for lunch and then be closed normally like around 4 or 5 o'clock. Those are the Texas scales. The one not far from here, actually, that I've done video on, that one also has that type of schedule. It'll have like a pop-up schedule all of a sudden that will just come on. It'll just start working. You know, they'll do it at any time, but normally it's like from 4 a.m. to like 4 p.m. and they're off for lunch, of course. But right now, guys, we're kind of lucky because they're closed due to construction on the highway. But believe me, once they get started, once they open back up, they're gonna make their money back that they've lost from all this construction that's been getting in their way. So so let's get on the road and let's check out the different styles of scales along our trip up to Virginia and see what the differences are on one or the other. So without further ado, let's hit the road. All right, this is actually our third scale of the night. Unfortunately, the first two scales were Texas scales, and I wasn't able to record them. I didn't have the camera set up yet. But here we are on 20, right before you get into Mississippi. And here we are coming through our, I guess, our first scale of the day, of the night. And as you are starting to see over here to the right, there's two signs, and those two signs that are right here actually let you know to bypass or to pull in the scale. This scale appears to be closed because as you first start to see, there you are right there, these are the flashing lights that are also indicating that the scale's closed. That's where this thing is backwards than anything else. Everybody else, flashing lights means they're open. Louisiana, flashing lights means they're closed. Now, the cool thing about Louisiana is they've had that system for a long time, not the flashing light system, the lights that actually come up whenever you're pulling close to the scale. It'll let you know to pull in or to continue going bypass. And they also have the pre-pass, which they've had these systems in for a long time. Being that Louisiana is one of the poorest states in the nation, it has had this system in for a long time. And my great state of Texas, unfortunately, is barely catching on to having the pre-pass. I mean, they haven't had it on for a long time that I remember. And all the other little scales don't even have anything. They just have either the flashing light means they're open, or if they're off, they're off. And you continue on going down the road. So this is our second scale that we're coming up on, which is in Mississippi, and this scale does not have the flashing light. This one actually just has that sign at the bottom. I don't know if you can, or actually at the top. I don't know if you couldn't see that. That was pretty blurry. At the very top, it had the close sign. So this scale here, if they pull you in, you pull in, and then you're supposed to maintain about 15 miles an hour as you're going through the scale. If they decide to weigh you, they will give you an arrow to weigh you. If not, then they'll give you the bypass, and you keep on doing your thing. What's up, everybody? Today is actually the following day already, and we are getting ready to hit the road. Just got through making me some amazing coffee from a YouTube channel called The Nomadic Movement. Go check them out. They are van lifers, and they ended up staying in Panama. They're living in Panama, and they got together with this awesome like world champion coffee brewer, I guess you would call them, and they created a coffee line, and this is my first one that I bought from them, and it's actually, man, it's delicious. It's got like a fruitier flavor to it, and it's called Orange Twilight. You can see right there, Orange Twilight, and then this is their brand right here. So just an amazing couple. I love watching their YouTube channels because their videos, because they're just so they just put you in this state where you just feel relaxed and all that stuff. But anyways, so this is what I'm having early this morning, and after, if I get another cup of coffee, which you guys know I only do 1 cup a day, but if I do another one, it'll be like some Loves or whatever. But to start off the morning, this was actually amazing. Anyways, guys, as you guys saw yesterday, we went through 2 scales. Louisiana, Mississippi. They were different as far as you guys probably saw that the flashing light was on the Louisiana scale, meaning that it was closed. Most states, when the flashing light's on, that means that it's open. Now, Louisiana has a system that they've had for years, which when you're on the highway, they weigh you on the road, which a lot of them do now, except for Texas. I don't know what's up with Texas, but some of them do, but most of them don't. Anyways, they weigh you on the road, and then they'll give you a flashing light that'll tell you to pull in or not. But that one was completely closed. The lights were flashing. The sign that came up said to bypass the scale. I got the green light, so we went straight on through. Middle of the night, it's not going to be open most of the time. Anyways, Mississippi scale, same thing. They do not have a flashing light system. They just have an open or closed sign, LED sign that's out in the entrance. And also they have the pre-pass system, which I got the green light. It was closed anyways, and we went on through. They basically they do the same job, but you just have to know all these different types of scales. The reason I really wanted to make this video is because the Louisiana scale can throw off a lot of people, especially if you're new in the business. Well, if you're new in the business, those of you that have been out here a long time know how they all work. But every once in a while, like especially me, when I go out west, there's a curveball sometimes, and I forgot about the way a certain scale works, and da-da-da-da. Like, for example, the scales in Colorado. Don't quote me on this, guys, but I remember that you had to have the VIN number, the last 8 or 6 of the VIN number on the side of your truck in big enough letters. That way, when you pulled onto their scales, they could type in your VIN number and know if you were good to go. That's the only state that I know of that does that. So I had it printed out, you know, and with letters put on the side of my truck when I used to go up there a lot. I don't never go up there, so I don't have them on this truck. But see, those are little things that you have to know. Going into Wyoming, a lot of times you have to get, I think all the time you have to get off, go inside, show them your permits, that's the port of entry. Port of entry, weight scales, some states have just port of entry, some weight scales call it a port of entry, and it's actually a scale. It's all a confusion. Those are the ones that right offhand that are kind of weird that I can think of, but I mean, there's plenty, and that's what this video is about. Just trying, guys, if you're going to be out on the road, be OTR, start doing your research on these things, because if you pass one up, and I know it might not be your fault, you accidentally pass one up, and the officer's having a bad day, they can give you a ticket for it for passing the scale, or they're going to bring you back around. Things to think about. That's why this video was something that I wanted to make for you guys. We got 2 more scales to go through on the way up to our destination. One is going to be our another Mississippi scale, and then we got a Tennessee scale. The Mississippi, Tennessee scales are both going to work basically the same. They're going to have the pre-pass, and if they pull you off, they have a little bypass, or they have where you go actually on the scale. So those are the 2 different systems. I mean, those are exactly the same basically. Just Tennessee scale is way older than the Mississippi one. And it sucks. My truck just started doing regen, and I was about to get ready to go. Dang. Gotta wait another 30 minutes. But anyways, I gotta get out, do my pre-trip, and then we can hit the road, guys. So let's go check out the last 2 scales for the load. I don't know if you paid attention, but that sign actually said it was open. And I don't know why, for some reason, when I come to this scale, my pre-pass never works. This northbound scale here on 59 going in Mississippi, about to go into Alabama. And look at this poor guy. Looks like he's broke down on the side of the road. And yeah, what a place to break down, at the entrance of the weight station. Interesting. But anyways, see, this one is a little different also. It tells you to come in at 45 miles an hour, maintain 100 feet from each other. That's where they weigh you right there. And then right up ahead, right up on top here, you're going to see, if you can make it out, there's two little boxes up there. One is a red X and one's a green arrow. And of course, I got the green arrow, so I'm getting the bypass. Now, as you're coming up close to the scale, you have to slow down to 15 miles an hour, and that would right here to the right is where you would go to actually get a actual scale out, you know, where you sit on the scale for a little bit. For tankers, they, well, not so much the ISOs, because they don't, the liquid inside the ISOs that which is what I am pulling, doesn't move that much. But regular tankers, a lot of scale houses don't like regular tankers, because especially, I mean, well, of course the smooth bores, because whenever you get on that scale and that smooth bore is, that liquid inside that smooth bore is just sloshing back and forth, guys, it would literally take 15 to 20 minutes for some of these liquids to actually settle, and they're not going to wait 15 to 20 minutes for you to get weighed. So they go ahead and let you go on through. Because I've sat, especially in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's tried to get me a few times, and they've actually had me sit for about 10 minutes, and the stuff is still moving back and forth to the point where the scale master comes out and just like motions me to get out of here. Yeah, that happens. But that's how us tankers, I mean, they don't really mess with us as much when it comes to weights, because it's just kind of hard to get it exactly how they want it to, because it'll just sit there and you can just watch their numbers go up and down, up and down. It's pretty comical, I think. But anyways, this truck decided to pull over and take a break, I guess. I don't know what he's doing. Now, the next bit of footage, guys, I really do apologize. It is nighttime, and these cameras do not stabilize image very well at night, and it's going to be a real jumpy image, but it is what it is. But this is the last scale that we're going to go through for the night. This is a scale up on 40 headed east, right before you get into Knoxville. Right before Knoxville, Tennessee. This one's actually another one that has a pre-pass, but never gives me, well, this is a 50-50. Sometimes it gives me a pre-pass to go ahead and continue on moving, and sometimes it doesn't do anything at all. Now, obviously, it's got to be working one way or another, because we just saw that truck go by, so he's got to have a pre-pass, and he went ahead and went through. But anyways, so this one here basically also works the same as our last. You slow down to a certain speed. I think this one is like 20 miles an hour. Let's see what this sign says right here. I don't remember exactly what it is, the speed limit here. But anyways, it got the arrows up on top. There we go. I got the green arrow, which is the bypass. And if we would have got the green arrow to the other side, that's where we would be pulling off right there to the right. And yeah, let's see if we can see the speed limit here. I think it's like 15 miles an hour. It's usually pretty slow. 25 miles an hour. So that's what, so there you go. I mean, there's differences too. Over there it was 45 coming in, and that cop right there, he actually had a creeper out there. But anyways, that Mississippi scale, it was 45 coming in, 15 going across. This one is 25 going across. I mean, it's basically, these are all more common sense. You know, you pay attention to the signs, you read them, and you just follow it. But I can see where you can get nervous. A lot of people get nervous. I've gotten nervous when I first started driving, just trying to figure out the way every one of these scales work, and it can be a little bit confusing.
for especially a beginner driver. Well, for a beginner driver. Us seasoned drivers kind of pretty much know what to look for. But sometimes, you know, when I first started, I didn't go through a majors. I didn't go through a school period. It was a school of hard knocks, basically. I was put in with a trainer for 2 weeks, and then I got my CDL, more my Class A, and then, yeah, that was it. It was ready for me to hit the road, and I had to figure all this out on my own. Nowadays, with all the schools and all this big mega carrier, Swift, Schneider, whoever, I think they kind of go over that. I'm not sure. If you guys know how that works, comment down below. Let us know if they actually explain how all these scales work. But there is so many different ones, so many different styles. Just pay attention and you will be totally fine. Thank you guys again for joining me one more time. Hope you guys found this a little bit entertaining or a little bit of information for those of you that are starting to drive trucks or that are rookie drivers that are barely out there. But yeah, guys, don't forget to be kind to one another. Help anybody needs help. Anybody contemplating suicide, 1-800-273-8255. Military men and women, thank you so much for your service. And at last but not least, colon cancer is real. I'm dealing with my father right now. Get yourself checked, even if you don't have symptoms. But if it runs in your family, get yourself checked, and it might save your life. See you guys on the next video, guys. Peace.